is Kelley Tilmon, and I am the Field Crop Extension Entomologist at Ohio State University. And today we're going to talk about spider mites in soybean. Now this particular summer, this is the summer of 2016, it has been very dry here in Ohio. And when conditions are hot and dry, that's when we worry the most about spider mites. Spider mites are very small. It is hard to detect them by just finding them. So I'm going to show you what signs to look for on the plants. So hot, dry weather, that's when we really want to be on the alert for spider mites. And the most common mite problem in field crops in Ohio is two-spotted spider mites. There are other spider mite species, but two-spot is what we usually mean when we talk about spider mites in field crops in Ohio. So how do you look for spider mites in your field? First of all, this is a pest that often shows up first on the edges of the field. And so you want to check the edges first to get a quick assessment of, does this field have them? And then if you do have them on the edges, work your way in to see how far the problem extends. What you want to look for when you're looking for spider mite damage is the presence of what we call stippling, which are little yellow dots that result from the spider mite feeding on the plant. Usually, at the very beginning of a spider mite infestation, this stippling will be most common in the lower canopy of the plant. If a population is starting to build and become problematic, you'll find stippling up more in the middle part of the canopy, and then if you've really got a problem, you'll find this stippling up in the top part of the canopy. In fact, that's what we usually use to be our guideline for when to spray. If you just have some stippling and the presence of mites in the lower third of the canopy, don't worry so much. If you start to get that mite stippling and the presence of mites up in the middle canopy, that's when we recommend you start lining up treatment. And if the damage starts progressing up beyond the middle canopy, you're into an economic loss situation. You want to not just look for the stippling, however, but to confirm that you actually still have mites present. Sometimes if you get a bit of rain coming through and the moisture conditions increase, moisture is the enemy of spider mites, which is why we see them in drought. So if you get that shot of rain, maybe it's enough to knock back the mites. Now, even though they're hard to see, you can get a sense of if you have live mites on your plants. The thing to look for beyond the stippling is you can shake the vegetation and tap it over a piece of paper. Now, I forgot my black construction paper, but believe it or not, black is the color that is easiest to spot the mites against. So steal some black construction paper from your nephew or your grandkid, take out the vegetation and tap it over your paper. And if you don't have black paper, white will do. And the spider mites, if they're present, will look basically like grains of dust that crawl. And if you have a hand lens, by all means, this is a creature that you want to use the hand lens on. Go into the field, check how far into the field the spider mites are a problem. Now, in a good year, when conditions are not so bad, you may be able to get away with just an edge treatment. However, if it's a very bad drought summer and there's no rain in sight, you may want to consider treating the whole field if you don't have a prediction for rain and if your population at the edges warrants a treatment. What to treat with? This is an important consideration for spider mites. The product you choose, you have to choose it carefully. There are many insecticidal products, particularly broad-spectrum pyrethroids, that are ineffective on spider mites, and in fact some of them can actually make spider mite populations worse. Some of our pyrethroids are known to actively flare mite populations. So you want to use a product with known efficacy against spider mites. Our go-to choices for many years have been products with the equivalent of Lorsban or a generic, or a product with bifenthrin, which is just about the only pyrethroid that is effective on mites. None of these products are particularly good at killing the eggs, and so it's important to go back about 4 or 5 days after your treatment and check to see if that next generation of mites is resurging on you. There are a couple of new products that are specifically miticides that are labeled for use in soybean. and those are definitely good options, and you should ask your dealer about those. And as always, please ask OSU Cooperative Extension if you have any questions, and always check your labels.